All right, let's jump right in today. We're talking Elementor Pro.
Yeah, the WordPress page builder.
Exactly. They just came out with a new update.
Version 3.25.0.
Yep. And, on the surface, it doesn't seem like a massive change.
Right.
But it has a pretty big impact, especially for folks using pop-ups on their sites.
Oh, for sure, especially when you think about performance. This update's all about making websites faster and smoother.
Which benefits everyone, right?
Absolutely.
So pop-ups, we're talking about those little windows that, pop up on a page.
Right. Sometimes they're offering a discount. Sometimes they just want your email.
Yeah. And sometimes they're just plain annoying.
Oh, yeah. You've got to use them strategically. A good pop-up can really boost engagement, get people clicking, get those conversions up. But a bad one, it'll send your visitors running for the hills.
Absolutely. So how does this Elementor update play into all this?
Well, think about the older versions of Elementor Pro. All the code, all the styling for those pop-ups, it was loading on every single page of your website.
Even if the page didn't have any pop-ups on it.
Exactly.
That seems a little inefficient, right?
It is. It's like packing for a weekend trip with your entire wardrobe when you only need one outfit.
Yeah. And all that extra stuff, that's just slowing the site down, right?
You got it. It's like running a race with a backpack full of rocks.
Yeah.
You're not going to get very far, are you?
No, definitely not. And we know people don't wait around for slow websites.
Nope. If it doesn't load fast, they're gone. And Google knows this too, Search engines actually penalize slow websites.
So if you want your website to rank well, speed is key.
It really is. And this Elementor update is a big help in that department.
So did they just get rid of pop-ups altogether?
No, they made them smarter.
Okay.
And the code for your pop-ups, it only loads when a visitor lands on a page that actually has them. No more unnecessary baggage.
So they're like a personal stylist for your website, making sure everything is nice and efficient.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And it doesn't just make those individual pages load faster. It also helps with overall code cleanliness.
Okay, so we got faster loading times, cleaner code. Those are both wins, right?
Absolutely.
But can you break it down for me? What does this mean in practical terms for someone with a website?
Sure. For one, your visitors will be happier, the website's snappier, more responsive, they'll stick around longer, explore more, and that can lead to more conversions.
Right, because no one likes a slow website. It's just frustrating.
Exactly. And from a technical standpoint, cleaner code, it's just easier to work with, easier to maintain, easier to troubleshoot, easier to update.
Less of a headache all around.
You got it. And it goes beyond that too. Remember how we talked about Google rewarding faster websites? Well, this update also helps with something called server load.
Server load, okay. Explain that to me like I'm 5.
Think of your website server, like the engine in your car. You're constantly putting strain on that engine. It's going to wear out faster. This update helps lighten that load, especially for websites with a lot of traffic.
So it's like getting a more fuel-efficient car.
Exactly. And that can actually save you money in the long run because you might not need as much server power.
Interesting. So it sounds like this one little tweak, this pop-up update, has a pretty big ripple effect.
It really does. It's all about optimization, even in the smallest details.
Okay, so we've talked about this solution for pop-ups, but are there other areas, other little things on a website that could be secretly weighing it down?
Oh, absolutely. And that's something we should definitely explore further. There's a whole world of website optimization out there.
All right. Well, it sounds like we've got a lot more to uncover. We'll dive into that in part 2.
So you asked about other areas for optimization. Let's talk about images.
Oh, yeah. Images. That's a big one.
Huge. And it's something a lot of people don't even think about.
I know. I've been guilty of it. Uploading those massive photos straight from my camera. Got to make the website look good, right?
Of course, quality matters. But those giant image files, they can really slow things down.
So what's the solution? Tiny, blurry pictures.
No, not at all. It's about finding a balance. Like, first off, resize your images before you even upload them. You don't need a 5,000 pixel wide photo for a website.
Right. Like, tailor it to fit the space.
Exactly. And then there's image compression. Think of it like squeezing all the air out of one of those travel pillows.
Okay, I get it. Same pillow, smaller package.
Exactly. Compression tools do the same for your images. Reduce that file size without sacrificing too much quality.
So it's like having your cake and eating it too.
Yeah.
Sharp images, but without the loading time penalty.
You got it. And while we're on the topic of things that can weigh down a website, let's talk about plugins.
Yes. Plugins, those little add-ons that give you all the bells and whistles.
Exactly. Super helpful, but
But too many can be a problem.
it's like having too many cooks in the kitchen. Each plugin adds more code, and that can impact performance.
So what's the best practice there? Just use as few as possible.
It's about being selective. Regularly review the plugins you have installed. Ask yourself, do you really need all of them? Are there any you haven't used in ages?
So it's like cleaning out your digital closet.
Yeah.
Get rid of the things you don't wear anymore.
Exactly. And make sure all your plugins are up to date. Outdated plugins can cause security issues and performance problems.
Right, like making sure your software has all the latest patches.
Exactly. Okay, now let's talk about something a little more technical, but equally important. Caching.
Caching.
Yeah. Have you heard of it?
I think so. It sounds a little like Star Trek-y to me.
It's not that complicated. Imagine you have a friend who lives really far away and you're sending them letters. It takes a while for those letters to get back and forth, right?
Right.
Caching is like having a copy of your letter stored closer to your friends so they get it faster.
Okay, so caching is like having little mini versions of your website stored all over the internet so people can access them quickly no matter where they are.
You got it. Most hosting providers offer some form of caching built in, so it's worth checking and making sure it's enabled.
Gotcha. Okay, so check the caching situation.
Yep. One last thing we should touch on your website's theme. Some themes are lean and efficient, while others are like, those giant houses with rooms you never use.
So if I'm using a theme that has a ton of features I don't need, it could actually be slowing my website down.
Absolutely. It's like driving a Hummer when all you need is a compact car. If performance is a priority, maybe consider a more streamlined theme.
Okay, so we've got images, plugins, caching, themes. It sounds like there's a lot to consider when it comes to optimizing a website. Where should someone even start?
It's not as overwhelming as it seems. Start by focusing on one area at a time. One week you tackle image optimization. The next week you review your plugins. Just take it step by step.
Okay, so small steps, one thing at a time. But, before we get too lost in the technical weeds of optimization, I think it's important to remember the people on the other side of the screen, the humans actually using these websites.
That's a great point. We can get so caught up in the technical details we forget who we're building these websites for.
Exactly. So how do we balance this technical stuff with a good user experience? Let's dive into that in part 3.
Okay, so we've spent a lot of time talking about the tech side of website optimization.
Right. All that behind-the-scenes stuff, image compression, cleaning up plugins, caching.
But at the end of the day, those websites, they're for people, right?
Absolutely. Real humans are using them. And we can have the fastest, most optimized website in the world, but if it's confusing or frustrating to use,
Kind of pointless.
totally. It's like building a super fast race car that's impossible to steer.
Yeah. You might get where you're going quickly, but it's not going to be a very enjoyable ride.
Exactly. So how do we make sure those websites are not only fast, but user-friendly?
Right. Where do we even start? Navigation, that's a big one.
Yeah, if people can't find what they're looking for on your website, they're gone.
Exactly. Think about a physical store. You want things organized logically, right? Similar items grouped together.
Clear signage, easy to find what you need.
Right. And those aisles need to be wide enough for people to move around comfortably.
So translate that to a website. It's about creating a clear path for visitors.
Right.
No matter what they're looking for.
Exactly. And don't forget about the language you use. Keep it clear, concise, avoid jargon.
Yeah, nobody wants to feel like they need a dictionary to navigate a website.
And the visual side is important too. Colors, fonts, the overall design. Make it inviting. Make it easy on the eyes.
It's like setting the mood, right?
Yeah. You want your guests to feel welcome. And speaking of welcoming, let's not forget accessibility. Make sure the site works for everyone, regardless of any disabilities they might have.
Absolutely. So things like alt text for images, good color contrast, keyboard navigation.
All of that. And remember, the best way to understand your users, ask them. Get feedback. What do they like? What could be improved?
Yeah, like restaurant reviews.
Exactly. Their feedback can make your website even better.
This has been so helpful. I'm feeling inspired to go back and look at my own website with fresh eyes.
That's great. And remember, website optimization is a journey. There's always something to tweak, always something to improve.
So find that sweet spot, right? Technical optimization and a great user experience.
Exactly. A website that's both fast and enjoyable to use, that's what we're aiming for.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Ah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into website optimization. Until next time, happy optimizing.